Alright, we'll try this again. Okay, I think this should be slightly better. Check OBS. For whatever reason, the other one, my other laptop, was far worse at encoding. Thought it was the connection, but it wasn't. It's actually a laptop. So I'm going here. I'm green. I'm very green here. So my connection speed isn't that great, but the encoding seems to work much better. So it's on like 8%. Drop frames in the last recording. Now it's around 5%, which is doable. You won't miss those many frames. But hi again, welcome back. I know it's kind of past midnight some of the states. You can see it's not midnight here, but maybe some of you might catch on those real late night owls, or those coming in from elsewhere in the world. Hello again. Yeah, this should be better. I think we're good. Yeah, this is a pretty stable connection. Seems to be working well. I'll double check that. Hi B1X Sniper, or 5 Sniper if you're doing it that way. Yeah, it seems to be okay. Alright, I'll get back to what I was doing before. For those who are just dropping in, I'm just testing something new here. Just seeing what works best for a live stream before to do it. I'm not going to do this very often, if ever again, but just for those few moments, this might actually work well. Let's see how it goes. To make this work, I've actually repositioned my my shooting position significantly. It's kind of weird, but it'll work. But yeah, I'm not shooting optimally. This is like 3 meters now. But you know what? Forward practice. You don't really question that too much. I try to stand somewhere where the light automatically adjusts. Let's look here. That's really bad backlighting. Yeah, let's turn this way just a bit. That seems a bit better. Yeah, you can see me, that's fine, yeah. Cool, that's to fix the lighting problem. I want to fix my target. Yeah, that is a strange angle. And yeah, once I start shooting, should be okay. Yep, thank you, Random Videos. Yeah, I think the problem was the encoder. My other laptop didn't handle the encoding very well. My Surface Pro seems to do it much better, which makes sense. Work laptop isn't that powerful. This is more of a heavy processor, so it should be alright. Anyway, I'll be on for the next, let's say, 15 or so minutes. We'll do a bit of shooting, maybe some Q&A, and then I'll start filming the actual video. So this is kind of like the pre-stream sort of thing. So yeah, if you missed my previous stream, if you notice what's different what I'm doing here, then I'll point it out, because it's going to be a little funny once you kind of realize what I'm doing. I'm not using a clicker. That's one of the big hints. So it'll be a little weird, but you know, it's good form practice to get used to shooting without a clicker anyway. Though I always learn with a clicker, so it'll always feel weird. Something worth mentioning is the kind of funny faces which people do in shooting. You can normally tell when a bad shot's happened. I'm trying to figure a way to put a second camera on the target. Again, honestly, I don't find it to be very important. I know some people just want to watch anyway, but I don't find it particularly interesting to see. Just assume they're all in the middle. They are. I do that when I'm shooting anyway. I assume everything's gold until I get there. And hello to people checking in. I can't see chat from here, but I can see you're signing in and the numbers going up and people saying hi. We'll have a good chat between ends. need to consolidate my anchor a bit more, squeeze my back a bit more. Again, shooting with no flicker kind of gets you. I need a haircut too. The basics are there. I think the shot process is kind of bleh at the moment, but the basics are there. I don't think you learn much from me in this live stream. I'll talk, but not, you won't learn much technique here. So do it all wrong. Lost it there as well. Okay, that's a bit more powerful, but they consolidate a bit more on this side. Yeah, that'd be an idea. Would be to like if I did a live stream where I shot completely crap and people just jump in and just shout at what I'm doing wrong. I mean, people love doing that, right? People love pointing out mistakes and criticizing people. So, you know, I could just be like the world's like, you know, I have this like master class and I'll do everything completely wrong. That'll get the new shooters, right? Oh, that was a horrible anchor. Still getting used to this. Still a little loose there. I need to really tuck it in. Alright. That might be as good as it gets for now. Look at the arrows. Let's see what's happening. Yep. Alright, I'm back. Alright, hello people. Yeah, I will eventually announce this ahead of time so people can check in. Frames are steady. The upload rate is kind of meh. It's not too bad. What bow am I using? Good question. This is the surprise. I think some people might, you know, I normally shoot my win in SXT. But you might guess what's different what I'm doing today. All up to my Mexican friends. Okay, alright, that seems to be it. I've got low numbers, but hey, this is a surprise stream, so not too surprised. We'll do a bit more. It's pretty fun to interact with the average viewer coming from across the world. And I'm still trying to figure a way to do a nice live Q&A. I think my plan for the monthly Q&A, or this month's Q&A, I want to collect a bunch of questions like I normally do. And that allows me to respond to them in a certain agenda or certain order. And then I'll take live questions towards the end. Might be easy to have a moderator, but I'll just sift the questions manually and see how that goes. But yeah, for those who wonder what kind of bow, I am a win guy, but you know, just saying, something's a little different today. Call it a sneak preview. I think it's only fair that I spend some time getting used to a bow before you reviewing it. The hard thing with reviews, especially when you don't own a bow, is that you don't have like an hour or so to make use of it. So I want to get used to shooting it reasonable. And see how that goes. Oh wow. Notice that my my offset is really far to the right. Huh. Well, it's obviously not too for my shooting, but that's quite far to the right. That might explain my my right drift. Because normally the arrow is meant to point a bit to the left, but again, not my bow. But you know, a tradesman doesn't blame his tools. Or does he? starting to get used to the field quiver technique. Because normally with the hip quiver you have to like pull it out and spin it around and pull it through. The field quiver you just slide it up and in. So I actually might prefer it next time. Though I did spend like $300 on the wind quiver, so I don't want to like throw that away. Rattle. You know, it's funny when I'm thinking about how to load arrows. I was rewatching Lars Anderson's original video, A New Level of Archery, because I was doing some critique. I'm doing some another upload right now. But one thing I found funny about Lars Anderson, a lot of things, but the one thing in particular was talking about how unintuitive it was to load arrows on the left side. And he did this slow motion where he pulls the arrow out from his quiver and it goes like that or something. He does that and they're like, oh, you know, I've used back quivers and they come out really naturally. Like if you shoot from the left side, you just pull it out, you knock it there and you shoot. If you're using a field quiver, I mean, I'm pulling it out there, I'll pull it from here, slide it through, clip it on, and it feels very natural. Is it fast? No, it's not meant to be, but it's not as awkward as Lars claimed, and that's what kind of really ticked me. Back then, this is 2 years ago, and watching again today, even more so, because you know, you just see the amount of selective editing he does. Just really weird, but that's the whole video itself. But yeah, I mean, like, everything feels so natural when you do it correctly. You have to like intentionally misportray it to show how awkward it is. I promise this won't be half an hour me ranting about Lars Anderson. He's a good bloke too. With some questionable content. Speaking of good blokes and content, Grizzly Jim, if you're watching this, I'm expecting your post-world championship video and or souvenir. Not a shirt, please. I'm of the opinion that national shirts are earned, not given. I'll earn mine, hopefully at some point. Oops. But those who haven't seen Grizzly Jim, check out the World Archery channel. Check out the finals for the World 3D Championships. He's not actually competing in it, but he did make a cameo appearance for Emily Williams in the women's longbow final. Yeah, the bronze medal match. No spoilers. Getting arrows is so much easier when you group in a fist size. Just grab all at once and just yank them out. I'm shooting at 3 meters, so that's to be expected. Even with an unconfigured bow and odd arrows, you repeat something often enough, it becomes just repetition. Okay, let's have a look at some questions here. Alright, so scrolling up here. Alright, so we're checking. Yep, quality is good, FPS is good. I can say. I just saw the capture myself doing the Lars Anderson impression. It's so good. Okay, yeah, sounds good. Nice to see that the stream is working well. So my Surface Pro seems to be okay for this. And this is old technology here. This is like 3 years old. But it should be okay. Alright. Hi Kayla, you're in Canada. Your outdoor season is winding down and the indoor season will begin. One of the funny thing with Australia is that we don't actually have an indoor season per se, because in other countries you're divided between outdoor season and indoor seasons. We don't have an indoor season. Now naturally in winter there's normally the outdoor events stop during winter, and yeah, we see more indoor events. So the state indoors and national indoors happen during winter, which makes sense. That said, many clubs don't have an indoor facility. The way it works in Australia is that, for Victoria at least, apart from one club, every club runs on council land. That means the council has to give them permission to run the outdoor range or build facilities. And believe me, I'm working with the council right now. I'm going to do a video on that very shortly, just to update the situation. It's improved a lot since, but there's still a long way to go. But yeah, like our club doesn't run indoor because we don't have a range indoor. Our shed's only 10 meters and indoors 18 meters at least. So I know a lot of clubs who have a pavilion or building or clubhouse, they'll repurpose their indoor space to have an indoor range. It might be like the general purpose hall or something, and they'll move the tables and we'll shoot 18 meters indoor. So they can do that. We can't. So if I want to shoot indoor, then I have to go to a different club. There are a couple nearby which I can go to, but I normally don't because I'm a teacher, right? So yeah, I finish early, but I get back at say 5:30 on a good day, and on a bad day when I'm running events, it might be like 10 o'clock at night I get back. So the reality of going to a different club to shoot is not very high. I know a lot of people have been harassing me to say, come shoot at our club, come practice. Sure, yeah, yeah, I'd love to, but that's just not viable most of the time. Yeah, Stanjiro 913, yeah, not my bow. Yeah, the brace height seems a little wide. It's a Hoyt bow. It's the Hoyt Horizon Pro. I've said it now. It's not my bow. I made the string and it seemed a little too short. That might be the problem. Although that is quite wound. There are a lot of twists on that string actually, so we could loosen it. But again, I'm not my bow. I didn't tune it. And Hoyt bows tend to kind of be quite well strung, so not sure about that one. Let's have a look here. Posture. So conundrum. Can you talk a little bit more about posture? When shooting, I tend to bring my neck down when getting to first anchor. Is that bad posture? I will demonstrate this very quickly. A good posture, there are things to avoid definitely. One thing you definitely want to avoid is arching your back. Your back should not be... Yep, there we go. I'll start tippy toes. Your back shouldn't be curled all the way back like that. This is a habit a lot of early shooters have. It is because the bow is heavy, they'll lean back that way, and you have that that really distinct S-bend in your back. That's really bad. It puts a lot of pressure on your lower back, especially, and it puts you out of alignment. This, it looks like this from the front, and from the side, it looks very, very awkward. The proper posture is to keep a straight back. Now, the thing I was taught about posture was to imagine yourself stretching your back out. So, extend your spine, make it feel longer. Now, should you put your head down? No, that might be excessive. But what you can do is to drop your chest. So, basically, bum out, stomach in, and tuck your chest and drop your chest down. So you have a slight hunch like this. This is actually a really nice photogenic look when you do that. I'll move across this way so you can see. Yeah, if you do that, so again, that's the chest. You normally breathe out when you shoot, so your shoulders drop and your chest also drops slightly. So that's the archer's hunch. Some would call it the barrel of the gun if you're using certain training methods. But yeah, that's the correct posture. It takes a bit of practice, and as you get tired, you start engaging your more regular muscles. So you start doing that, start kind of straighten up a bit. But yeah, just get used to it. Depends on what works well for you. But hopefully it helps in posture. But yeah, bring your neck down to your first anchor. Yeah, that's normally not a good thing. Like, try to keep everything still. You don't want to have too much movement here. Your neck down, I don't know, to anchor. I'm not sure exactly what you're describing. but that's as long as your back is the right position, should be okay. Alright, peace among worlds. Why can't any Mexicans swim, run and jump? Because all the ones that could are in the US. That's okay, I'll take that. Cool. Let's see. Yes, I'm in Australia. Do I have any preference one way or the other in regard to outdoor, indoor? Okay, good question. I haven't really shot indoor. That's my thing. I've shot indoor like what 5 times ever. I have to admit, from what I have done, I like outdoor a bit more. Outdoor is a bit more, I don't know, romantic, I guess. You feel the sun and the wind and the rain. But indoor to me feels a little too industrial. And maybe because all the indoor ranges that I've been in have concrete walls, so it is quite literally a warehouse. But I find that indoor looks like a shooting range, the ones you go to practice. Whereas outdoor is kind of like a bit more natural, and I'm not a field shooter in any way, but outdoor just feels like what archery is meant to be. Indoor is good too, but I reckon I like outdoor more. Additionally, the indoor targets are smaller, there's a much higher expectation. So, yeah, it feels a bit more stressful to shoot indoor, in my opinion. But I haven't shot indoor competitively, so I can't really comment. Why do I hate Lars? So Yannick Bernier, why do I hate Lars? I actually don't. This is a very big misconception, is that I'm one of those Lars haters or Lars critics. I don't hate Lars. He's a nice bloke. We keep in touch every now and then. He's talked about he last commented on my video on using bows as melee weapons. And look, I think he's someone who is very fascinated by history. He's read a lot about it, and he's gone to the extra effort of recreating what he's done. So I think he's done a good thing. But I think that the way he does so, it doesn't work for archery. And just still a sidetrack here, like just for curiosity, I watch certain HEMA or historical European martial art channels, so Scarlet Grim, Thane Thran, Metatron, Scholar Gladiatoria, of course. And the thing with them, and this is what archery, in my opinion, lacks. This is such a one thing I wish so much about archery. The thing with HEMA is that you've got very big personalities. So you have like the big tree, the big three, not tree. Yeah, you have the big three. You have Scargrim, Metatron, Scholar Gladiatoria, and you've got Scadiversity. Yeah, you have a lot of people who have very diverse styles of presentation, different angles, different understandings, but they all make very good content. They've all got very big followings, and they all generally respect each other. Whereas in archery, the big players in archery on YouTube tend to be quite fragmented. So you have like the trad shooters, and you have them people like Grizzly Jim. You've got Jeff Kavanagh, and we used to have like Grey Archer, but he's kind of dropped off the radar for a bit now. And in terms of compound, there's lots of compound and hunting, but not much for Olympic recurve. So we don't have a large diversity in terms of producers and creators. So it's kind of like if I Google archery, it's going to be me most of the time. That's kind of frustrating because I want to see other people. I want to watch other people. It's why I can't wait for like Jim's next video, or if the Knocking Point makes a video, or if Greg from Archery 101 makes a video, or 3D Archery makes a video. I like watching them, especially how they teach things. All teachers learn from other teachers, so not seeing that kind of feels a little harsh. But yeah, I find Lars to be a good entertainer, but not a very good educator. I can rant about this all day long, but I feel that the next step for Lars should be educational videos. So have the entertainment part, but have some 1 or 2 like small tips on what he does, because it's been 2 years since he went viral. What's the secret? I mean, how does he do it? Unless he can teach somebody, then what he can do is kind of like pointless. And it would be nice to see him have a separation between his videos. So have the historical videos where he can debate history, and people love debating history. Have his skill shooting videos, and have demonstration videos, just like 5-minute ones to show one trick or one stunt, because nobody does what he does. So if he can use that to his advantage, then he can attract a better audience without having to rub people the wrong way. I'm not going to comment on him personally in terms of intelligence or ability, but I think the way he delivers content could be better. And again, I made a video about this yesterday. It'll be uploaded a bit later today, so there's a bit more on my advice and my take on what Lars is doing. Okay. Hard to improve release, just let it go, really. It's hard to say how do I fix release. It's a very big question. Depends on what you're doing wrong. The most common problem is being too tense in release. So you're really going like that, and you just fling the string out. Sometimes a bad release can be caused by target panic. So if you're shooting poorly, or you're stressing too much about the bullseye, then that can affect your release. I can demonstrate this, not right now. If I grab a bow that I'm not used to, like my Mandarin Duck Phantom, or my OMP Adventure, different draw weight, different arrows, and haven't shot before, I'd be stressing a lot about not breaking a window. So my release will be heavily affected because I'm trying too hard to aim at a target or not hit a certain thing. So that can really get to you. But release is very complex, regardless. Let's see. I'm talking a lot, so I'm just catching up on chat here. Cameron Venagas, do I have any interest in trying compound? Yeah, no, I'd love to. I mean, I started with barebow, trad barebow, when learning archery. And when I first started archery, I thought I'd just be doing barebow. Clearly, I'm not. But I didn't mind the competition aspect of sport archery, so I like that part of it. But I think that I naturally am attuned to certain kinds of trad barebow. I wouldn't mind a Korean bow. I want to buy a Mongolian bow at some point, and just have fun with archery. That's the sort of thing I like doing, but still compete with my Olympic bow. Compound, at some point, not surprising. Peace among worlds. Malcolm passed on a nice compound bow. There's maybe more. Wasn't a question, but it's interesting. It's good to know. Hello, Gavin from Los Angeles. Hopefully this time suits you. It's now 2:14 p.m. Eric Smith, there isn't a lot of archery videos for Olympic archery, probably because it's Olympic. Yeah, no, it's in some ways I agree, because it's less traditional. Fewer people know about it, despite it being the highest level competition. Yeah, you're right. Same with amateur wrestling, so freestyle wrestling or Greco-Roman. Because it's overshadowed by more professional sports or pro wrestling, it's hard to kind of find this sort of thing. At the same time, though, it doesn't hurt to have people who are doing this sort of thing. So maybe I'm a pioneer. I'm not the first one to do it, but I wouldn't be hopefully the last one either. Sol Vela, good question. How's the Phantom compared to the Samick Sage? Also, other beginner recurves that you recommend over the Sage? Gee, that's a very good question. How does it compare? In my opinion, I think the Sage is a bit thicker and heavier. Now, this is subjective here, because I think the Sage being wood would be lighter. But the Sage is a thick bow. In fact, I'm going to grab it right now. That's a very good question. Alright, I'm back. First of all, yeah, that's a Sage. It's unstrung. I should note that this is like the first time I've unstrung the Sage in like 3 years or something. Look, there's a certain myth going around that you have to unstring your bow all the time. Actually, you don't. As long as you don't like keep it strung in a very hot place, then it should be okay. If you're using it every day, then you can just leave it strung and bring it back. That's okay. Anyway, Sage, Phantom. The Sage is a much thicker bow. Okay, it's a bulkier riser. It's a nice solid riser, but it is bulkier. In terms of weight, they're actually very similar in weight now that I think about it, and that's saying a lot because this is aluminium. So yeah, basically you've got something which is kind of a heavier, sturdier platform compared to a lighter, flimsier aluminium frame. This one I feel I can just chuck around and I wouldn't really care if it's scratched because it's a cheap aluminium bow. The Sage is also a cheap wooden bow, but it kind of has more of the aesthetic look. So yeah, it just depends on what you want. It's kind of like this is your first foray into wooden traditional bows. This is kind of like your first entry into modern aluminium bows. So like the next progression might be, say, the Martin Jaguar, for example. This one might be get into like bear bows or that sort of thing. So yeah, I can't recommend one more than the other. I like the Sage as the bow I kind of originally thought of, but this is also a very good bow. So yeah, I'm not plugging Mandarin Duck because I have to, but in my opinion, both bows are so different that depends on what appeals more to you. Not so much which bow is better. Alright, the problem with live streams, I never do any shooting. That's really funny. Okay, let's go next question. How long have I been streaming for anyway? It's been half an hour. Cool, I might stop very shortly then. So that was the question from Sovella from Queensland. Thank you very much. Kaz5, having trouble with finger tabs. Not sure what the problem actually is. If you specify more, I can probably help you. Things with tabs is that you've got to make sure they fit your hand properly. If it's too large, it gets really awkward. If it's too thin, you don't get enough coverage. And it should fit the shape of your palm as well. So think about buying a better tab. If you're using a cheap tab, then that might cause problems. Otherwise, yeah, I can't really specify exactly what the question is. Conundrum has a bruise below his thumb. Should you add tape? Yeah, tape doesn't hurt. Bruising. Oh, from the grip. Okay. Okay. I've never seen this. I do have certain calluses on my hand because of my bow. They've disappeared since I've changed my grip. If you're being bruised in the grip hand, the bow hand, that's a problem. Something's not right there. Something's not right with the way you put your bow or the way you release it. So it's causing a lot of abrasion here. Tape does help. And some archers will tape this. That's normal too. I should tape certain parts of my hands as well, but I've built calluses since. But yeah, bruising isn't normal. That should be something you should check out. Nathan Lamb, can you do more budget-oriented equipment? Yeah, I'm running out. That's the problem. Like there aren't too many budget-level bows which I can easily get because they're all the same thing, right? So why would I spend hundreds on like a SF Optimo Plus or a Core Pulse or something? Because they're really the same bow, and many of them are just rebranded Samics. So it's not like you did something unique. Depends on who sends me gear. Like sometimes shops will send me their own rebranded version, and it might be a different wood, or it might have a bushing or two added. So if other professional businesses send me gear, then I'm quite happy to review their versions. That's something quite interesting as well. I was contacted by Farmington Archery in the US, and they wanted to send me gear as well. They're taking quite a while to get back to me, so hopefully something happens then. Let's see. Legendary John. Yes, I live by. I don't actually live near an airport. The thing is that I live in directly underneath the main airway. There's a plane there right now. Yeah. On a good day like today, there's a plane every like 30 seconds. That's why I hate filming in my backyard. And my range isn't any better. So this is something that you have to put up with. There's construction in the back. I live near a train station. Planes fly overhead. Not much you can do about that. But that's yeah, I'm not quite near the airport, but I'm directly in the flight path of the plane to a landing. One of the cool things about my club is that it's just south of the local smaller airport, not the big one, the smaller one, and the planes come so low, like not like like touching low, but you can see the undercarriage and the landing gear very clearly. Some of these planes that come quite low, so it's quite fascinating to watch. Let's see, back to the chat. Which do I prefer, off the shelf or on the rest? I'm just trying to find this out. So conundrum again. Rest. Shelf is nice, it's very natural. I shoot my Samick Sage, my bear takedown off the shelf. But for regular shooting, the rest I find is generally a bit more accurate, a bit easier to manipulate. Whereas the shelf is a bit more natural to just kind of chuck on and just shoot. So depends on what you're doing. But I most of my bows off the shelf, off the rest. Let's see. Yeah, Cameron Venagas again. I want to try Mongolian and Turkish. Yeah, I want to try horse style bows, like thumb style draws. Thumb rings or gloves or whatever. I'm not too familiar. There are some people who want to get me into it, so I'll be following that up in due time. But I don't really have a recommendation right now. So I know nothing about that. What arrows go with the Mandarin Duck Phantom from Deeren and Wiggins? Depends on what you... Okay, when I make my video on how to buy arrows, I'm going to feature the Phantom specifically. You don't buy specific arrows for specific bows. You buy specific spines for certain draw weights. So whether I shoot Eastern or Carbon Express or whatever from the Mandarin Duck Phantom, it doesn't actually matter as long as I get the right spine. I currently shoot the Predators. This is the Carbon Express Predator XT, or it's the normal Predator. 800 spine. It's cut to my length, which is around 20. Well, combined with the tip, that's around 28 inches. It's quite a long arrow for me. And I shoot a 35-pound Phantom. At my draw length, it's around a 32-pound bow. So I haven't tuned it perfectly, but the 35-pound Phantom at my draw length, which is about 26 inches, with this arrow is fairly decent. So you should be checking your charts rather than asking about, you know, what goes with this bow. So yeah, it is a myth. Just remember that you don't buy arrows for bows, you buy spines for draw weights. And there are dynamic draw weights as well, dynamic spines. Do keep that in mind. Let's see. So same question. Do Eastern Genesis arrows? They don't work that well actually. I find they're too stiff. The Eastern Genesis arrows are really made for the Matthews Genesis bow. So it's, I mean, even then they're too stiff. Can they work? Yes, but they're very large, stiff arrows. You can shoot them. They're fairly cheap arrows to kind of toss away. But I don't think you'll get a good tune from most of the Phantom bows because they don't really match the Genesis. Alright, so next question from Igor again. Did I use the Winnerman Black Wolf? Yes. Yeah, I reviewed the Black Wolf. Check out my review on that. Black Wolf is an amazing bow. It might look like something like the Martin bows, the Martin Jaguars, but the Black Wolf is a carbon bow. It's small, light, packs quite a punch. Very satisfying bow to shoot. Great for field work. Excellent bow. Eric, Farmington shutting down? I'm not sure. Yeah, Farmington is a relatively new store. They opened, I think, this year. They do have a YouTube channel, like one video or two. And the owner has been in touch with me, but this is like months ago. So last time he contacted me, he was packed out with deliveries and orders, but he hasn't been in contact with me since. So yeah, you might be right. I'm not sure about Farmington. Possibly. How do I get into archery? I work, my workplace, my school is located right next to my current club. So one day, one of my mates just told me that, hey, there's an archery club nearby. I went, no, there's not. And it went there, and it was. So that's how I got into it. And yeah, I was in a stage of my life where I wanted something to do, like something to commit to. And archery just fit it. I was never a sports person. My parents were never into sports either, so I was never encouraged to do sports or archery. So yeah, that was something I picked up because I really wanted to. I found a sport which I really liked. Yeah, the one I'm talking about is Farmington Archery, not Farmington Hills. Although Farmington isn't exactly a unique name, so you might be thinking of a different one. Gavin Centric, how do I feel about purchasing second-hand bows? Completely fine. Unless Okay, there are two kinds of used bows here. There's the bows which which are just barely used and they've been replaced by the owners because they've changed bows, or they're selling their bows off, or you're a grizzly gym and you have to fund your campaign. Those kinds of bows are fantastic. The only used bow I have is the Bear Takedown. Works just as well, if not better, because it's been tuned for good shooting. Plus, it has a grizzly string on it, so it's exceptionally good. But yeah, the used bows are normally quite good. You might see some cosmetic damage, but the bows themselves should be just as good as when they were brand new, except you can buy them for much cheaper. If you're trying to get into Olympic archery and you don't want to spend $1,000 on a bow, then look at secondhand. You can probably get it for half price. Very easy to get. Even the older generations of bows like the Hoyt TD4, the Yamaha Yola, those older kind of really solid aluminium or magnesium bows, those bows still function fine for learning archery. They were gold medal winning bows, so there's no reason why you shouldn't get one if you can. I mean, you might want a modern model, like a new sports car sort of thing, but nothing wrong with getting an old bow. The other kind of used bow is the one that's been in the garage for like 20 years. That's where I would be a bit more skeptical. A lot of these traditional wooden bows are a bit more awkward to use because they might be cracked or damaged. They obviously haven't been taken care of. So that's the distinction. If it's a bow that's clearly been maintained, then go for it. If it's a bow that's been left around to dry for a decade, then I might give it a pass. Okay. So Mark Kaz is taking one archery lesson worth it if I want to see if I'm interested. Yeah, definitely. It's the cheapest way to get into archery is to do an archery lesson. Depending on where you are, it might be 20 bucks, it might be 50 bucks, but that's better than buying a bow and just figuring out if you like it or not. Because at least when you go to a lesson, you're taught to do it properly. That's the thing. If you're not taught, then you're going to have a bad impression. So definitely have a lesson to begin with. I always say so. And that kind of ends the question. Oh, thank yous. Thank you to Igor. Thank you to Cameron Venegas. Glad to see you're enjoying the archery videos, and I'll be doing more in the days to come. I've got 2 weeks off. I'm trying to spend as much time as I can, kind of planning on videos. Oh, sorry. Follow-up question from Mark Kaz. Thoughts on group lessons? Yeah, that's the norm. Like every club runs beginner sessions. You don't need a one-on-one tutorial. In fact, again, like you want the most basic safety introduction to archery. What we do for Come and Try program is we teach you about safety, we show you how to shoot. There's like 10 steps, so we show you like 3 just for the basics, so you get shooting as soon as possible. The whole point is the first lesson, the first 10 or 15 minutes should be safety, and then get shooting as soon as possible safely, so that way you enjoy the sport. Once you determine that this sport is something which you want to learn more about and commit to, that's when you start taking more serious approaches. So have more coaching or buy your own gear. But yeah, group lessons are completely normal. That's how we normally run. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend you get a personal coach from day one. Go to a range, go to a club, have a group lesson. That works better than most. Vicious Strive, greetings from Colombia. Hola. Nice. Eastern Apollos are good arrows too. Jonathan Rose, good evening from Vegas. Indeed, thank you for tuning in. I'm nearly done, by the way. And yes, Gavin Centric, life sucks when you're cross dominant. That can be a bit of a problem too. But yeah, that's reached 42 minutes, so I reckon I'll stop it there. The last one was 1 hour long, so I got kind of carried away with shooting and answering questions. But yeah, I will be thinking about doing a live Q&A for this month. I just happen to have time off, so I can set this up to run. I think this particular laptop works well. So I'm going to be collecting questions from people. So if you have a question, feel free to email me. Check out my website, or for my channel for the address. It's new.sensei.archery@gmail.com. So if you have a question you want me to answer, contact me via Facebook or email me, and I'll work through that agenda. And beyond that, I'll be answering live questions as well, and hopefully they shouldn't be too bad. Okay, so I reckon we'll stop it there. I want to get some hydration, maybe eat something. and then film my actual video. So be tuned, stay tuned for that. I will be releasing my Lars Anderson follow-up video very shortly, and I've got a few reviews to do, including the bow I'm using right there. Anyway, this is New Sensei. Thank you for checking in, and I will see you next time.